All right. Good morning, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. It is Mike and Dan Stanty. We are doing a quick chat this morning. The thing we're trying to do on a more regular basis is just get together and have a quick discussion about what's going on in real estate and anything else that maybe is interesting in real estate or more interesting than real estate. Morning, Dan. How are you?
Good. Mike, a bit of a skeleton crew today. Both Sam and Michael Boosley are out working. So these things happen on Sunday mornings in real estate. So just going to be Mike and I this morning. It's going to be a quick-ish chat. And so a couple of things we wanted to talk about today. We wanted to, about a month ago, just in the new year, I can't remember. We sent out a video to our clients and we put it out on our YouTube channel. Something that's been in the works for a long time that, say, two and a half years ago, we started our first foray into video, and we held on to it for quite a while because we weren't quite sure how to use it. It was more of a culture piece about our team, our family, the family team. So it was all about tomato sauce. And it's, I continue to hear about it. It's been a while. Every time I see somebody that hasn't mentioned it, they say, "Oh, I saw that video again, and what a great video." What response have you heard from it?
Similar.
Maybe we should describe it just briefly before we.
Sure. Yeah. So it really is talking about. We've had a family history of making tomato sauce since we were both kids, and it was something that's passed down from the grandparents on Sano's side, who immigrated here from Italy, and they had a tradition of making things from scratch. I mean, Nonna was well versed in, if I'm remembering things correctly, like bread, pasta, sauce, wine, anything else that comes to mind that they were always doing from hand or by hand.
Oh, everything. They hardly bought anything pre-made at the store. So.
They didn't often buy things from the store unless it was secondhand. Then I remember Nono coming home with like toasters from yard sales often. But it was a bit of a run through for both our family and the Boosleys, who Michael Boosley is a descendant of our Nona's sister. So they obviously had very similar traditions. They grew up in the same fashion, and they had many similar ways of living. So their tomato sauce is a little bit different, and the process is a little bit different, but the way they get together and the way that they do it every year, and that tradition of getting together every year is very much the same. So this sauce video was really a rundown of what we do and how we do it and why we do it, with the intent that it was going to be maybe the first of a few culture pieces that we do as sort of an oral history of different cultures through Calgary. So that's what it was. And I think it was pretty well received, and something that not a lot of other people have.
You can kind of, open the kimono in a sense, behind the scenes in a sense of, not just what happens in the back office of real estate, but what happens on the weekends.
We as a family office do.
Our
response, or the response that I had, has been pretty interesting. It's a lot of when can I get my jar? How do I get my jar of sauce? So there's that, and I'm sorry folks, it's a limited supply. We make enough. It seems like a lot when we do the initial batch, because everyone goes home with how many jars? It's enough to last a year.
20 or 40,
20 or 40, or if we're doing a 2-year supply, 40 or 80 jars of tomato sauce, which again seems like a lot, but if you are using it for all the things that we use it for, then you go through it at least one a week, and it actually doesn't last all that long. So there aren't many jars to be had, sadly, as extras. Although we did at the start of the pandemic, we did a little thing with some of our more recent clients where we handed out a small jar of sauce, and it was really only enough for not even a full meal, I don't think. But it was just something to say, hey, we're thinking about everybody and hope you're all doing well. And that was also super well received. So I don't know if we need to maybe focus more on tomato sauce and real estate, but I think we'll stick with real estate for now.
Yeah, I had comments from people saying, "Oh yeah, where can I buy that? Where can you guys jar that and sell it in stores, don't you?" I was like,
no, not at all.
I know that'd be a full-time operation, but
yeah,
maybe it's something worth considering because it was great. It was lots of people saying, "How can I get some?" Lots of people saying, "How can I help?"
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to be involved. It looks like a lot of fun. So.
I actually got a few of those as well. Some friends who said, "Hey, can I come the next time and do that with you?" And yeah, absolutely. The more the merrier. We just have to let us know ahead of time so that we can account for enough tomatoes and jars and celery and salt and all the rest of the things so you can actually go home with a few jars if you do come to help. That's there's a sweat equity portion that goes in, but you leave with sauce. So yeah, if you want to come and help, but just let us know. We need to account for that ahead of time.
And let us know if you have a similar longstanding tradition. Like Mike said, this was meant to be the first in a series of oral history pieces, maybe just passing on the tradition in a little bit more permanent way. So if you have anything in your family history and your cultural history, let's chat and maybe we can put something together.
Would love to hear about it. Yeah, it'd be really neat to see like Ukrainian families making pierogies or sausages or I don't know, an Asian family doing dumplings, I guess, or I mean, whatever it is in your family and your culture that you do that is an annual tradition and a sort of a gathering. We'd love to hear about it. Maybe document it. And it's not anything we're making any money off of at all, but it's something that we are trying to just put up there so that people know that Calgary is a place that has a pretty rich history in terms of the people and the culture that are here. So
yeah.
So
moving on.
Yeah,
I don't see any comments here to touch on that. So Next thing we want to talk about, well, kind of a two-parter, open houses. And we bring this up because Mike has to leave in about 10 minutes to go host an open house at one of our new listings down Memorial Drive.
Convenient for me that I have my broker here to ask what are the current rules on an open house with the changes that our premier's made to rules and restrictions around COVID and masking and gathering. Do you happen to recall off the top of your head what it is that I'm supposed to be enforcing when I go to my open house?
Just masks right now is the highest priority. There's no need to check for vaccines or anything like that.
Sure.
Unless, of course, sellers as the owners of those properties have the ultimate authority on what happens in those. But for now, it's just checking for or making sure you have masks.
Gotcha. Okay. I guess if anyone's out there and planning to walk around Memorial Drive today, we're going to be I'm going to be at Glenwood Manor, which, if for those of you who don't know, it is right as you come across the Peace Bridge on Memorial Drive, the big, beautiful old building that you would see directly across the street on Memorial Drive, Unit 1 in 904 is where I'll be and hosting an open house. If you happen to be out walking around before the Super Bowl, feel free to drop in and get a look. It's
you can't miss that gleaming roof on it.
No,
it's something to behold.
Yeah,
I say that because it's
also been a pain point for you.
Also been a pain point. I actually used to be the president of that condo association for a short while they started that project, and it was a huge undertaking to get that project underway. It's a heritage building, and so it needed approvals from multiple levels of government, and needed to be it was quite the engineering process to get that approved. And anyways, it's all done now, and it looks great. And hopefully that roof should last. We believe that is the original roof, still refinished and regalvanized and recoated from 1928 when that building was constructed. So
another 100 years or so, hopefully.
Hopefully another 100 years, 90 years, if we can. Lucky. So that's.
And so for the folks in the audience that maybe don't know, what does a heritage designation mean? I mean, you said you had to go through and get a bunch of approvals, but how does that impact what you can do with the building and mean, how you run it.
Yeah, well, there's a couple different designations. You can be designated at the municipal level, you can be designated provincially, and you can be designated federally. So this particular building has both municipal and provincial designation, which means that municipally there's a bylaw that has been placed as a zoning bylaw specifically for that building, and it does specify sort of the character defining elements of that property. So I'm trying to remember my terminology. The character defining elements for that property, and it's a it limits, I suppose, what you can do and how you can do it if you want to make any changes to the exterior of the property or the interior, if there are some components of the interior that define the character. A similar process with the provincial government as well. There is some funding available from both the province and the city on a case-by-case basis for projects as they arise, and you have to apply for funding, and you might get a portion of the project cost reimbursed. And so that's one of the benefits, I suppose, of going to designation now. One of the downsides for a lot of people is that it limits future development, and that you could not easily remove that building in the future. And it's meant to be a preservation technique. So
yeah. Speaking of which, I mean, we have more than just the one building that is in that sort of property class of being if not necessarily designated as a heritage building, is at least identified as a resource, or rather identified in the inventory. That's right. That's the word.
Yeah, which all that means is that somebody from either the city or the province has driven around, noticed the building, documented that it looks like it has some character or some heritage.
Yeah,
and that it might be of interest if somebody wanted to get it designated.
Which then might again mean that you have access to possibly additional funds, but it does tie your hands a little bit with what you might be able to do down the road with the property. What are the other? So there, I mean, one in particular that I've been fortunate enough to work on recently is 606 Meredith Road, which is known as the Wall block, or previous to that, the Poffenroth block. Really neat and interesting multi-use building down in Bridgeland. What are some of the other ones that we've had come up, Dan, that are in that category of property?
Yeah, I mean, it's been some time. We had the I can't remember the name of it now, the building on the corner of 14th Avenue and First Street Southwest. Really nice character building down there. It was a 4-story apartment building. We had the Colgrove Apartments recently. That's on 15th Avenue Southeast.
Wasn't the 14th? That was the Finley.
The Finley, yeah, that's right. The Finley, yeah. Colgrove Apartments. We have actually a second unit coming up in the Glenwood Manor for sale. That's going to be quite nice. It's going to be a top floor 2-bedroom this time. We just had a detached property downtown, 1910 build, and we deal in a fair amount of those, and very familiar with the construction techniques for that age of home, the types of materials that were used, and what to look out for if there's any issues. And yeah, it's being exposed to properties of that age on a constant basis has been very helpful. And for clients who are interested in either buying or selling, we can give them appropriate advice on how to tackle the challenges around.
Yeah, we do have one question here from Michael Boosley dialing in remotely, who's asking whether or not that heritage designation has any impact on renovations on the interior of the unit, or if it's limited to the facade or the exterior.
Yeah, that's a good question. Now, this particular building at the Glenwood Manor, there was no restriction on the interior of the units. The windows are part of the character-defining elements, and so you couldn't modify the windows. You can paint the inside if you want, but you can't modify the outside. You can't replace them with vinyl windows, for example. So that there are some limitations, but in that particular building, it's pretty wide open. Depending on the building and depending on the character-defining elements. I mean, another condo building in Calgary that has the heritage designation is the Anderson block, and that is down in Lower Mount Royal. I want to say it's about 8th Street and 18th Avenue, and another really quite nice. I think it's a 4-story apartment building, all brick, great little courtyard, and they have more interior elements in their character defining bylaw. And so I want to say the elevator, the birdcage elevator in that building.
Yeah, that is a special elevator.
It is. It's beautiful, and so that's an interior component. It's not interior of the unit, but it's interior of the building. So yeah, the bylaws, they vary, and it depends building on building what you can do.
Right. Yeah, it's been a while since we had one in the Anderson, but I remember about 10 years ago we had one in there. Probably more since, but that was super interesting building just to be in and walking around and checking it out.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I want on a procedural piece about open houses is the, for people going to look at open houses, what are the implications if you have a real estate agent? What happens?
Right.
The bottom line is anybody can go and look at any open house. And if you have a contract with your real estate agent, it doesn't supersede that. So you can feel free to check them out, always be in contact with your realtor if you have one, if you're interested. Sometimes what we see happens is somebody goes to an open house and they don't tell their realtor they're interested. And then who knows? I know Michael Boosley had a walk-in on the weekend and ended up selling the property a couple of days later from the open house. And I got a call the next day from somebody saying, "Oh, we saw that, but we didn't let our realtor know." Or the realtor called me and said, "The client saw that and they didn't let me know. And now it's gone. So too bad."
Yeah. Something else you see occasionally is somebody comes in and you discuss the property, and the responsibility probably that rests largely on the person hosting the open house. But if the folks coming through express a lot of interest and are, you maybe get well in the path to, okay, let's maybe write an offer, and they say, "Oh no, I need to go talk to my agent." Probably for any agents out there, a good idea just to make sure that you ask up front, are you working with an agent? And that goes back to part of the consumer relationships guide and establishing agency and how that all gets laid out. And I suppose, I'm not sure if it's something we want to get into right now, talking about implied agency, but always good to be really clear and upfront, especially from the agent's perspective, just to say, "Hey, listen, are you working with somebody?" Yeah, know where everybody is and how they're working, and that's I know I've been caught a couple times getting probably too far down the path of somebody who's already represented and has a buyer brokerage agreement signed up. So
yeah, it's a good question to ask, just for everyone to know where they stand.
Yeah. What else do we have that we wanted to maybe just touch on briefly here, Dan, before I have to run off and set up for today's open house?
I think that's all we had. Open houses, heritage properties, and tomato sauce.
Right. Yeah. Running the gamut a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we missed anything. We maybe covered too much.
Just missing bodies today. So yeah. Good luck to our agents, our team who are out there working. And thanks anyone who's watching for tuning in.
If you have any questions or maybe want to have any questions answered in the next broadcast we do here, just drop a comment in the chat and we'll do our best to either answer that in the next series here or get back to you directly and answer the question that you have. Thanks everybody, and we will talk to you very soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.